I'm not trying to scare you. But I have to be honest with you. In 2023, more than 282 million people were very hungry. That figure is now on course to reach 345 million people in 79 countries. And what about most people? They don't know what's going to happen. People are bickering about politics and celebrities on social media, while clever people are quietly getting ready. They are starting with 6 easy foods. Because let's be honest. You don't want to be the one fighting over the last can of beans at Walmart when the shelves are empty and the madness starts. I've been working on this for months, reading World Bank publications, looking at data about food crises, and talking to people who have lived through disasters. The World Food Programme says that we are currently seeing food emergencies that are unlike anything we've ever seen before, and they are caused by war, climate change, and problems with the supply chain. It's not a conspiracy. It's going on now. So, in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you about 6 foods that could really save your family in an emergency, such when grocery stores are empty and prices fly through the roof. The best part? You don't need any special survival gear to buy these meals from your local grocery store. And stay with us. Number 6 is something that practically no one talks about, yet it might be the difference between doing well and just getting by. Food number 1, white rice, the unsung hero. Let's start with the meal that doesn't get enough credit, white rice. I know what you're thinking now, rice? That's your main food for survival? But stay with me, this might shock you. More than half of the world's people get most of their meals from white rice. That's not a mistake. And this is something that most people miss. White rice can endure 25 to 30 years if it is kept in the right way, in airtight containers. Yes, you heard me right. If you buy a 20-pound bag today, your kids could still be enjoying it in 2055. People like to store up on bread when they need it, but bread goes bad in a few days. Your sourdough starter? Not useful without power. But what about rice? It sits there like a superhero, ready to save the day. And if your kids are really hungry, they won't ask for organic quinoa. They want something that will fill them up and give them energy. Rice works. It has a lot of calories, is easy to cook with simply water and heat, and can make a meal last longer. One survivalist I spoke with had lived through Hurricane Katrina. He told me this right away: the ones who had rice didn't have to wait in line at FEMA for food. They ate full meals while everyone else was battling over scraps. Experts say that each person should keep 25 to 60 pounds of rice on hand each year. It sounds like a lot, but when you break it down, it's only a few cents every meal. And here's the best part. By 2029, the number of individuals in North America who eat rice is anticipated to go up from 46.6 million to 60.9 million. The clever ones are already getting it. So the question is, will you be ahead of the curve or will you be in a panic when it's too late? Food number 2, canned meats, the lifesaver you might not be thinking about. Now let's talk about something that people love to hate, meat in a can. I understand. I used to roll my eyes at it too. Chicken in a can? Canned tuna? That's food for camping. No, my friend Jake, who is a contractor in Florida, went through Hurricane Ian last year. 3 whole weeks without electricity. Stores closed. Gas stations are out of gas. The shelves were empty in a few hours. People were driving for 2 hours simply to get bread. Do you know what Jake's family ate the whole time? Not takeout. Not a nice dinner set. He secretly stocked up on canned chicken, tuna, and beef, 1 can at a time. His wife used to make fun of him. Jake, we don't prepare for the end of the world, but who wasn't hungry when everything went wrong? He told me something I'll always remember: when your kids look at you with empty stomachs and the restaurants are closed, opening a can of meat and cooking a warm meal makes you the dad who saved the day. His neighbor, who was a doctor, came over and knocked on the door, nearly crying, to ask if they had any extra food. That doctor had some cash. He could afford all the organic, free-range, and grass-fed options, but when it really mattered, he didn't have anything. This is the truth: about 90% of the nutrients that people need to live are found in meat. If you had to, you could live on tinned meat. And here's the terrible part: more than 90% of wild plants are poisonous or harmful to people. That dream of living on leaves and berries? Not going to work. And with food prices going up all across the world, what do you think stores run out of first amid a crisis? Meat that is fresh. It goes bad quickly and needs to be kept cold. But beef in cans? That stuff will lie on your shelf for years without moving, even when the electricity goes off. Canned beef isn't bad. It's gold in a crisis. I heard two people discussing about how ground beef went from $3.99 to $7.99 a pound in just 6 months as I was waiting in line the other day. 6 months. One of them said, "At this rate, my kids won't even know what a real hamburger tastes like by Christmas." That really hurt. We're not getting ready for a Mad Max future that's far away. We're getting ready for Tuesday. Now listen, don't be the person who just grabs random cans of meat like you're shopping with your eyes closed. You need several kinds of meat for your emergency plan because each one has its own job to do. The power of canned protein, how to stock your shelf like a pro. 1. Tuna in a can with olive oil. Don't get the inexpensive thing that comes with water. Choose tuna in olive oil because it tastes good and because your brain needs those omega-3 fatty acids to work, especially when you're under stress. You want your intellect to be sharp when you have to make judgments that could mean life or death. This isn't just food, it's brain fuel. 2. Chicken in a can. Think about how flexible it is. It's the best protein in the pantry since you can make chicken salad, soups, tacos, wraps, stir-fry, and rice with it. And how does it taste? It tastes surprisingly good, especially when you add spices. 3. Sardines with salmon in a can. Don't be scared, sardines are great for survival. They are full of protein, calcium, and good fats. Those $2 cans are worth their weight in gold when fresh fish costs $25 a pound. 4. Beef in a can. Yes, steak in a can, especially the companies that feed their cows grass, like Yoda's. It's not only safe to eat, it's also tasty. Add some tinned tomatoes and rice, and you've got a warm, filling supper that tastes like a comfort food from happier times. Here's the real game changer: you don't need to keep it in the fridge. Take a moment to think about that. People are freaking out about their $300 worth of steak going bad in the freezer during a power outage, but you're calm since your canned meat doesn't care if the lights are on or off. This is even more important now that climate change is creating more blackouts every year. I spoke with a survivalist who made it through the Texas freeze in 2021. He said the saddest thing he saw was his neighbor crying as he tossed away a freezer full of rotting meat. Gone, hundreds of dollars. What about this guy and his family, though? They were eating warm, filling meals that came straight from their canned food hoard. This isn't fear. It's common sense. Tensions around the world are growing. Supply chains are weak. And experts agree that food insecurity will get worse in the years to come. This isn't talk of panic. It's getting ready based on facts. And when your lights go out, the stores are empty, and your neighbors have been eating dry cereal for 4 days in a row. You'll be the one who makes hot meals with a lot of protein that keep your family strong. They'll think you're the brightest person in the world. Because you will be at that moment. Food number 3, dried beans and legumes, which are very powerful but not well known. Next, let's talk about dried beans, lentils, and legumes. I know. People say beans are dull. But the US in the protein portion, the dietary guidelines put beans, peas, and lentils above meat. Not chicken, not beef, yeah. Beans. Why? Because these tiny things are full with nutrients. 1 cup of most beans gives you 30% or more of your daily protein. They provide a lot of fiber, iron, folate, and potassium, which are all things your body wants when you don't have enough real food. And here's something crazy: scientists now suggest that legumes are a more stable and long-lasting source of protein than meat in times of crisis. Science says beans can really take the place of meat. I read a study from Finland that had men eat beans instead of meat for 6 weeks. What happened? There is no difference in nutrition, bone strength, or calcium levels. They were receiving what they needed from beans. Rice and beans make a complete protein, which is the survival combo. I want to tell you a short story. Jake, the same guy who rode out Hurricane Ian, thought he had everything figured out throughout the pandemic. He was great at stocking up on rice and tinned meat. After 3 weeks, he felt drained. I'm tired. Foggy-headed. Do you know what he was missing? Beans. Most people don't know that rice and beans together make a complete protein, which means they provide your body all the amino acids it needs. The best emergency combo in nature is rice provides you power. Beans make you strong. They work together to keep you alive and well. What about the options? Never ending. In just half a cup, black beans have 8 grams of protein and 6 grams of fiber. Kidney beans have a thick, meaty texture that fulfills appetites like no other veggie. Lentils cook quickly, in less than 20 minutes, and are packed with nutrients, including approximately 30% of your daily fiber. But what if you don't have any power to cook? I hear this a lot. Yes, but it takes a long time to cook beans, let's be real. You'll have a lot of time if the world shuts down. Soak 'em for a whole night. Use a camp stove or fire to boil them. That's it. Beans have fed whole civilizations for thousands of years because they work. Crazy long shelf life and crazy good value dried beans can live anywhere from 10 to 30 years if they are preserved correctly. If you buy a bag for $3 today, your grandkids could still eat them. Try to get that kind of return from your retirement account. In the end, beans and legumes are not simply food to keep you alive, they are also one of the healthiest, cheapest, and most useful things you can keep in your emergency pantry. And we're only getting started. When a pound of meat costs $50, beans begin to look like gold. Imagine this, food stores are completely empty. Beef from the ground? If you can find it, it's $50 a pound. But you? You are at home making rice and beans, which are warm, filling, and full of everything your body needs, for just a few cents a meal. That's not just clever planning. That's true insurance for survival. Honey is a food that never goes bad and is like liquid gold. Okay, number 4 is something that most people don't even think about when they go to the supermarket. Honey. I know what you're thinking, really? Honey? But pay close attention. In a crisis, this stuff is like liquid gold. Archaeologists unearthed jars of honey that were more than 3,000 years old in tombs in ancient Egypt. Still good to eat. Your fridge full of kale will turn to mush in a few days, but honey just sits there like, I'll be here for you when you need me. But this isn't just about how long it lasts. Honey is one of the best foods to have on hand in case of an emergency. This is why, a natural sweetener for when you run out of sugar. It kills microorganisms, making it a very strong antiseptic. Hospitals even employ honey that is safe for medical usage to cure wounds. You don't need to keep it in the fridge, it stays good for weeks even if the power goes off. And get this, my neighbor's grandmother, who lived through the Great Depression, informed me that during the 2008 financial crisis, she used to swap honey for food and other things. Because everyone wanted it. When the money loses its value, honey becomes money. And what about now, in 2025? Prices are already going up. The honey industry is having a rough time because of climate change, sick bees, and disrupted supply lines. Last month, I saw a container of raw honey that used to cost $8 but now costs $15. But while everyone else is rushing to buy bread and meat, honey sits calmly on the shelf, strong and steady, waiting to be your secret weapon. And believe me, a spoonful of honey makes everything better after a week of plain rice and beans. Get what you need now while it's still cheap. This item never goes bad, and in a crisis, it will feel like gold. Canned tomatoes are the unsung hero of food. Number 5. I realize this next one could sound boring. Tomatoes in a can. But stay with me, this one is going to blow your head. To start, canned tomatoes are one of the first commodities to go missing from shop shelves during every significant food shortage in the last few years. Why? Because brilliant people know something that most people don't. There were so few tomatoes available recently that retailers started limiting how many you could buy. There were no fresh tomatoes to be found, and people didn't even bother to take the canned ones that were right in front of them. It was like seeing folks die of hunger while not paying attention to the full water cooler next to them. Here's the twist, canned tomatoes are really healthier. Yeah. Lycopene, a strong antioxidant that may help lower the risk of heart disease, inflammation, and several malignancies, actually becomes more concentrated throughout the canning process. More than 700 research studies support this. So, in the winter, when everyone else is paying $4 for boring, out-of-season tomatoes, you're receiving superior nourishment from a can that costs 89 cents. Crisis cooking isn't just about staying alive, it's also about keeping your mind clear. Let's be honest for a second. Think about how you would feel if you only ate rice and beans for 2 weeks. Your kids are really tired. You're under a lot of stress. Everyone is sick of the same tastes. Then one day, you open a can of tomatoes and add some garlic and herbs from your garden. The whole house smells like something real again. That's not just food. That's a good sign. Mike, who went through Hurricane Katrina, told me a story that I will never forget. We had the rice, beans, and canned meat, we were fine physically. But after a week, the kids cried at dinner. Not because they were hungry, but because the food had grown so sad. Then my wife found a can of tomatoes. She created a quick sauce, and when it started to simmer, the smell made my kids grin for the first time in days. That's what flavor can do. That's how strong it is to feel normal when nothing else is. Why you should buy these right now. Canned tomatoes get from the farm to the can in just a few hours, which keeps their best nutrition. Tomatoes and other high-acid foods can last at least 18 months after their best-by date. You can acquire whole, diced, paste, crushed, or sauce, which can be used to make hundreds of various meals. And they are quite important in Italian, Spanish, Indian, and Mexican food. Oh, and here's a number that will blow your mind: more than 80% of the lycopene in the American diet comes from tomato products. These little cans are not only helping you stay alive when fresh food is hard to find or too expensive, but they are also keeping you healthy. And yes, when the lights goes out, the news is terrifying, and the world seems to be falling apart. The aroma of tomatoes cooking on the stove with some herbs? That's not simply a meal. That's comfort. That's normal. That's where I live. Food number 6, powdered milk, the dairy lifesaver that lasts a long time. Okay, this one might make you roll your eyes at first. But believe me, when you're done, you'll see powdered milk in a whole new light. I understand. You're thinking, isn't that the chalky stuff we used to eat for lunch at school? Yeah, it doesn't really scream gourmet. But listen to me, powdered milk might be one of the most underappreciated meals for survival in the world. $20 milk in Beirut. A real-life wake-up call. Jake is a friend of mine who lives in Beirut. He called me last year when Lebanon's economy fell apart. He's laughing over the phone, but it's that uneasy kind of chuckle that people do when things are going wrong. He says that the price of milk jumped from $2 a gallon to more than $20, and there were days when there was no milk on the shelves at all. At the same time, his neighbor, a sweet elderly lady named Amira, had been surreptitiously hoarding powdered milk for months. She wasn't in a hurry. People were physically fighting in supermarkets for a carton of milk, but she was treating it like gold. That's when it hit me. This isn't crazy prepper stuff. This is getting ready for real life. Powdered milk is a great source of nutrition. Let's get down to business. Whole milk powder can keep up to 2 years or even longer if it is stored correctly. And it's not just filler, it's full of calcium, protein, D vitamin, important fats. It's basically a full dairy solution that sits silently in your pantry, ready to use whenever you need it. And powdered milk? It doesn't spoil if you look at it the wrong way. It just sits there, waiting patiently. No need for a fridge. What can you do with it? A lot more than you think, not simply for drinking. Add it to coffee as a creamer. Put it on top of cereal. My wife uses it in smoothies, and I didn't even notice. Put it in cookie dough, pancake batter, or baking recipes. Make soups and sauces that are creamy. It's one of the most versatile things you can use when you can't get fresh dairy. The emotional side of food, why this is important. Let me show you a picture. It's the 4th day of a big problem. No electricity. There are no grocery stores. The world seems to be upside down. Your kids wake up afraid and don't know what's going on. And you? You give him a bowl of cereal and milk. That one small thing, that one moment of normalcy, is everything. It tells your family, we can do this, we're fine. I remember a mother who survived through Hurricane Katrina telling me, the hardest part wasn't the terrifying, large things. It was the loss of daily routines. No coffee, no cereal. No food for comfort. Everything just gone. She claimed that those weeks would have been a lot less crazy if she had had powdered milk on hand. How to get the flavor right? Let's be honest, some individuals think powdered milk tastes strange. But here's the trick. Don't mix it with warm water, mix it with very cold water. Put it in the fridge for a few hours to cool down. Let the proteins break down. Let the taste settle. Most folks can't notice the difference when you do it well. And even if it tastes a little different, let's be honest, you won't be picky when milk costs more than gas and the shelves are empty. You will be glad you made plans ahead of time. As Jake said, when you're thirsty in the desert, you don't complain about how the water tastes, it saves space and storage space. Doesn't need to be kept cold. One container takes up a small amount of space compared to gallons of liquid milk. You can keep entire milk powder to consume. Non-fat milk for baking and cooking, even buttermilk powder for making pancakes and biscuits. In short, it's an entire dairy aisle in a container that never goes bad. Don't panic, these are my last thoughts. Just get ready smart. Hey, I'm not trying to scare you. But the price of food, which is going up, is affecting more than 76% of the world. Prices for dairy are going up fast. And supply linkages that used to be really strong? Now they are weak and hard to forecast. It isn't prudent to go full apocalypse and empty stores like a crazy person. It's important to do this slowly, carefully, and consistently. This is what I want you to do. When are you going to the store again? Just take one more thing from this list. A sack of rice, a couple of cans of tuna, a jar of honey, or sure, a box of powdered milk. Put it together piece by piece. In a quiet way. Smartly. The truth is that the optimum time to get ready was 6 months ago. The second best time? Now. And if this was helpful, hit the subscribe button right now. Every day, I keep an eye on this global food catastrophe, and I'll keep giving you the tools, information, and mindset you need to safeguard your family no matter what. Don't worry. You just need to be ready. Final thoughts: your future self will be grateful. Prices for food are going up. Supply networks are breaking down. Agriculture is having problems like never before because of wars around the world. But here's the good news: I'm watching it all, so you don't have to. And if you start getting ready now, even if it's just a small bit at a time, your future self will be very happy you did. When milk was missing from supermarkets, my Lebanese friend's neighbor told him something that keeps coming to mind: the wise ones get ready when things are good, not when things are bad. That really hurt. And it's completely true. It's your turn to talk. So, let me ask you. Which of these 6 foods for survival surprised you the most? Which one are you putting in your cart this week? Leave a remark below, I read them all. And if this video made you think at all, give it to someone you care about. More individuals will be ready when things get rough, which means fewer people will have to deal with them. Thanks for watching. If you liked this, don't forget to subscribe. More tips, more news, and more honest talk are on the way. Be safe, be wise, and most importantly, be ready.